G'day cocktail lovers and welcome to the Cocktail Dome, where we make cocktails.
Cocktails.
I'm your host, Chuck Carrots, and I'm here with my inseparable friend, Archbishop. We've been promised something very special in the Dome tonight.
Yes, Chuck, and I've been given a hint as to what we might see tonight.
What can you tell us, Arch?
Well, it's summer in the Northern Hemisphere, so we see a lot of drink days celebrating tropical rum-based drinks. I believe it ties in with Forrest Gump as well.
Well, that's a little bit cryptic, but I feel confident putting those two hints together to, no idea. Sorry. For a second I thought I had something, but I got nothing.
Well, we just asked the man himself. Mr. Angry, what are you bringing to us in the Dome tonight?
Thanks, Chuck and Arch. Well, we are coming up on a bunch of rum-themed drink days. First cab off the rank is the Mai Tai, and that's why I referenced Forrest Gump, because if you've ever ordered Mai Tai but in different bars, you'll know life's like ordering a Mai Tai. You never know what you're gonna get. And I'm gonna take that difference thing further. This is going to be a milk clarified Mai Tai.
Oh, Arch, you know what that means? It's the return of Milk Punch Monday!
Oh! Now, Mr. Angry, Chuck, what do you think? Are we going to assume you prepared this for us earlier?
Sure thing, Chuck. The first thing I always point out to people if they're going to experiment with milk clarifying is the process is going to smooth out the flavours you would normally get in the drink. So it's a good idea to go with flavours that are bolder than you might usually choose. So with my surprise Mai Tai, I am using some rums you normally wouldn't associate with a Mai Tai. Namely, first up, I'm making a big batch, and it's going to be 2 parts Smith & Cross rum. This is a Jamaican rum pot still, 57% alcohol by volume. It's got a really strong flavour. It's going to go really well in the clarifying process. So 2 parts of the Smith & Cross. For some fun flavours, I've decided to mix this up with some pineapple rum. So I'm going 2 parts of the plantation pineapple rum. This combination should produce some really interesting flavours and something a little different when it goes through the clarifying process. So it's 2 parts pineapple rum. Then I use a mix of juices. Now this is important both because you get juices in a Mai Tai, but also you need the acid content of some citrusy juices to actually make the clarifying process happen. So I started with 1 part lime juice, I included 1 part pineapple juice, and 1 part orange juice. Then I added some flavour enhancing liqueurs. I borrowed from a few different recipes I found across the internet. Like I said, with a Mai Tai, you never know what you're going to get. And so I'm starting out, this is common to almost every Mai Tai recipe, orange curacao. So I did 1 part orange curacao. Next, I decided to add some falernum. I'm using the Bitter Truth Golden Falernum. There's a few different falernums on the market. Hey, you can always check out Rob's Home Bar where he shows you how to make falernum at home. But for mine, I added 1/2 part of falernum. This is a much less common ingredient in a Mai Tai, but tying in with how flavours are going to be mellowed out, I thought this would be a good touch. I'm going some pimento dram, also known as allspice dram. This is a really strong flavoured liqueur based around allspice, has all those great tropical spice flavours, cinnamon, nutmeg, all rolled into the one element, which is why it's called allspice. I'm doing 1/2 part of allspice dram. Some final cheeky little flavour elements. I'm putting a couple of dashes of absinthe in, and the absolute final touch will be just a couple of drops of saline solution. If you were making a single cocktail at this point, you'd put it on ice and shake, but because I'm making a batch, I gave it all a bit of a stir to make sure everything's integrated, and now it's time to add it to the milk. And it is important to add your cocktail mix to the milk, not the other way around. It will give you a much better result if you do add your cocktail to the milk and give it a bit of a stir. And in terms of ratios, it should be 4 parts of your cocktail to 1 part milk. So for example, if your cocktail measured 120 mils altogether, you would add it to 30 mils of milk, and then we wait the curdling process.
Well, while we're considering the frankly mystical process going on here, could you run us through in detail how the process works?
Sure thing, Chuck. Fire away.
I've heard, do you need to use heated milk to clarify a cocktail?
Absolutely unnecessary, Chuck. I've done a lot of experimentation on this, and not only is warming the milk not necessary, it can actually work against you. So milk straight from the fridge.
And Mr. Angry, what about the suggestion that you actually need to leave the cocktail milk concoction and sit for at least 24 hours?
Again, Arch, through experimentation, I can tell you this is not true. You don't need to wait 12, 24 hours. You just need to wait long enough for the separation to be happening. This can be as soon as 10 to 30 minutes, although you can leave it a little longer if you like.
Speaking of which, I mean, when we see that concoction that's curdling and what that's going on, it really doesn't look appetizing, does it, Arch?
You're absolutely right, Chuck. I mean, I imagine if you didn't explain to someone what you're doing, you just said, hey, I'm mixing a cocktail and it's going to have curdled milk. The response would not be favourable.
Yeah, and yet the curds are integral to the final product.
That's right, and if I could give your viewers one more tip, Chuck, you're going to be pouring the mixture through a paper coffee filter or something similar to that and letting it run through and clarify. Little tip, although you're putting it through a filter, it's the milk curds that are doing the hard work and they need to settle to the bottom of the filter. So the first amount of drink that runs through won't be as clear as it could be. It will be a little bit cloudy. So what you need to do is let it run through for a while, and then when it's running through clear, you pour that amount of the cocktail back through again, and then you're going to get a much clearer result. Or you can run the entire drink through a filter more than once to make it an even clearer drink. The thing is, this is time consuming. Depending on how much you're making, it could take anywhere from an hour to several hours for this process to complete.
Well, thankfully, we live in the world of here's one I prepared earlier.
Hard to believe a cocktail that was originally, honestly, a sludgy brown, then was mixed with some curdled milk, produces this incredible clear result. I mean, that is brilliantly clear.
I mean, yeah, it's not colourless like water, but it's absolutely clear. It's just incredible.
And doesn't the clear ice suit this perfectly? I mean, you could dress this up with a tropical themed garnish if you like, or you could just enjoy the simple elegance of it.
But that reminds me, Chuck, if viewers watch to the end of the video, you will see a link that points you to just a perfect video guide, the cheapest, easiest, space-effective way to make clear ice in your freezer at home.
Oh, indeed. Why not learn a new trick? Make your cocktails that much more special. I mean, here at the Cocktail Dome, we believe in drinking better, not drinking more. Because remember, life is too short for boring cocktails. Cheers.